Did you ever get your mouth washed out with soap? I did. Not often, but I did. What earned me the privilege of having my mother wash out my mouth with soap? Was it because I said a curse word? No, I didn't know any of them back then. Was it because I shouted at my parents in a fit of anger? No, though I probably would have deserved it. So what did earn me a mouth washing? I called somebody a name. I learned right then and there that that was a big no-no in my family. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. Like you, I learned a lot of my most important lessons in character and virtue from my parents. And the lessons I learned as a child continue to guide me even as an older middle-aged adult. Sometimes I can even hear my mom or dad speaking in my mind when I need to be reminded of some of those lessons. Because, like everyone else, I don't always live up to the character ideals I learned as a child. I don't know why we call each other names exactly. I do know it comes from a deeply insecure place in our lives. Those who call people names usually do it to cover up for their own lack of self-esteem, so they taunt other people with insulting names, perhaps thinking that if they pull the other person down, they will be seen as important or powerful. But if you're like me, when you see someone calling someone else names, you immediately lose respect for that person. Perhaps we should also pity the name caller. What has happened in his or her life to cause them to feel that calling someone else names will make them feel better about themselves? But there's also another reason why people often resort to name calling. It's a way of distracting people from the fact that in a discussion or argument, you know you don't have the facts on your side. Name calling becomes a way to divert people's attention from the substance of your argument, or really the lack of substance. Look, people disagree on things. That's a given. It's a fact. We don't all think alike, and we don't all evaluate things based on the same set of values. That's just part of life. And so we argue in order to sort out the truth. A good argument marshals relevant facts and builds a case why something ought to be done or done in a certain way. A good counter-argument either marshals a different set of facts and builds a case why those facts should be more relevant, or else points out fallacies in the other person's logic. But when facts are not on one side, people tend to descend into ad hominem attacks and even to name-calling. In fact, in one chart I've seen that places types of arguments on a scale of best to worst, name-calling occupies the very lowest rung. It is the refuge of those who know they can't persuade others on the merits. But whether it comes from deep-seated insecurity or from the desire to win an argument at all costs when the facts are not on your side, name-calling is an ugly facet of human life. It starts when we are very young. We learn on the playground that calling people names is a powerful way to tear others down. But that doesn't explain why people continue to do it as adults. In the Christian community, we should refrain from name-calling and call out people who do it. Paul, in his first letter to the Thessalonians, says this about the church in Thessalonica: "Encourage one another and build up each other, as indeed you are doing." True community in Christ is about building one another up, not tearing each other down. It is about encouraging one another, not insulting and belittling each other. And this behavior ought to flow outward into all our dealings with other people. We can have dishonest agreements. What we cannot do is call each other names. To do so flies in the face of what we are called to do as Christian people, and besides, our parents taught us better. And now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do, this day and in all the days ahead.